I am known as kind of the seminar guy and annuity guy. I was the annuity guy until Tracy showed up on the scene and kind of took that flag, but that's okay. He's super smart on that stuff, and I'm happy to let him run with that. But so now I'm kind of like the seminar and kind of holistic planning guy that's known in at least our social media circles, right? So that's what I'm going to talk to you about, just kind of what I do in my practice, and hopefully give you some ideas about how you can implement some of that stuff. How many of you are, I know you're all Medicare agents, right? Right? Okay. How many of you are field? I mean, you go out in the field and talk to people, right? How many of you phone only? Okay, that's good. That's a smaller number than I expected. How many of you kind of do both? Okay, all right, good. How many of you think you can't sell annuities over the phone? Okay, that's good. All right. How many of you sell long-term care? Talk about long-term care. Okay, good. All right, I base my whole practice on what I call 4 pillars of retirement. And if some of you may have started out at a certain company may recognize what I'm talking about here, but it really starts with Medicare, right? I'm a Medicare agent. And it all starts with Medicare and healthcare. Why does it start? Why does that conversation always start with Medicare? If I'm reaching out to somebody, going into their house, how do I get into their house? With Medicare. Why is that the easiest? And why is that where you should start? Because they have to have it. It's like car insurance. They have to make some decision, right? And they know they have to make some decision because all their family and friends and coworkers have all been talking about it. You're going to be turning 65. Did you sign up for this? You got to get this plan. You better hurry. You're going to pay a penalty. That's what they do. They're looking for some expert to provide them with that information. So we start there, but then that conversation goes quickly into long-term care, life insurance, and retirement income. Okay, so it all is built off of that, and none of this can happen without a fact finder. How many of you conduct a fact finder? How many of you, your fact finder consists of, what's your zip code? And what plan do you have now? Right, anybody? Come on, during AEP? Yeah, I mean, I get it. You got a lot of work to do, right? Well, I tell you, if you're not asking more questions than that, you're leaving more money on the table. And if your clients aren't getting it from you, they need these other things, they're going to get them from somebody else, and guess what's going to happen to your Medicare business? It's going to go too, right? Because they'd rather have everything under one roof. Right? I think it was USAA, but don't hold me to this, did a study a few years ago that said if a client has 3 lines of business with you, they will never leave. Right? It's like your bank. How many of you hate your bank but won't leave? Right? Because you've got all your auto drafts and everything set up, and it's too much of a pain in the neck to change them all. Right? I'd love to change banks, but I just don't. It's too much trouble. It's too much trouble. All right? So if they've got 3 lines of business, they will never, ever leave you. It's the ultimate, most perfect retention plan in the world. Right? So if we get their Medicare, what else do we have to get? Their long-term care, their life, and their retirement income. So the fact finder starts out with Medicare. And those questions are easy to answer for them, right? Because they know that's why they're there. Are you still working? Do you have insurance from your employer? What kind of insurance do you have? How's your health? Do you take any medications? These are all questions that they are going to answer. Why would they not answer those questions? Right? Anybody disagree? Okay. So we start out with those because those are the easiest to answer. And what do we want? We want those micro clauses, those micro agreements. We want them to say yes multiple times before we get to the big one. Okay? So this is the front page of the fact finders, 4 pages. It deals in these 4 areas. And it starts out with an explanation of why we're asking these questions. Hey, I'm not just a Medicare supplement salesman. I'm a financial professional, and I specialize in holistic retirement planning. Now, what I mean by that is I take these 4 pillars of retirement and I integrate those into one master plan for you. And it starts with health, and that's why we're here today. But I'm going to ask you questions in all 4 areas because it's a puzzle. And if I'm missing any one piece, well, I just don't have a full picture. Is that okay? And they always say yes. You get their permission. And they always say yes. And if you set it up that way, when you get to the big questions that have nothing to do, or not much to do with Medicare, they're going to say yes. They're going to answer the questions, right? Okay. So let's get into that fact finder. It starts with Medicare. Do we need to talk about Medicare anymore? Do I need to spend any more of my 22 minutes talking about Medicare? We get that. So we're asking them about their health, their current plan, are they still working, when do they plan to retire, those kinds of things. You know, their prescriptions. Right? Is their wife or their spouse still covered under their plan, and are they too young for Medicare, right? We need to know those things. Then long-term care. Have you known anybody that needed to be in a nursing home, or do you have to take care of anyone yourself? How did that affect you and your family? Yeah, what are your expectations for your kids taking care of you? We don't want them doing it. All right, so that answer to that question always goes, my daughter's a nurse. She said she's going to move us in with them, and we'll be fine. That's about 15% of the time they answered some version of that. The other one is, we think our kids would take care of us, but we don't want them to have to. Great. Do you have long-term care insurance? Nursing home insurance? Nope. We looked at it a long time ago. It just didn't seem to make sense. It was real expensive, and we didn't like the way the Banker's Life guy presented it, right? So, you know, and I was a Banker's Life guy, so that's where all this comes from, by the way. Not all of it, but it's the foundation. And that's it. We don't talk about that much anymore, except, hey, you know, we can have a conversation later about some other ways. Your answer is exactly what I hear from most people. It just didn't seem to make sense. It costs too much. There's some risk involved with it. But you know what? We'll circle back to that at another time and talk about it some more. Okay? And then what do? Go to life insurance. For me, this is a pretty short conversation because I don't like life insurance. I'm sorry, I just really don't. If you like it, that's perfectly okay. I don't like it. You know why? I don't know why, I just don't like it. I have a thesis about final expense, but I don't want to offend anybody, so I won't talk about that here. But we need to talk about it. Why? There's some opportunity, right? There might be some opportunity to do a 1035 exchange if they've got a 30-year-old whole life policy that's about to lapse, or that's going to lapse in 10 years, you know, from eating up the cash value. We might be able to roll that over. They might have a true need for life insurance, and we can fill that. They might have a policy that is good, but it doesn't have living benefits to cover that long-term care that we talked about, so we might be able to make an exchange there. So we're talking about life insurance. By the way, have you made any other plans for your final expenses, like buying prepaid funerals or cemetery plots? I don't sell prepaid funerals or cemetery plots, but it's just about getting them to talk, right? Getting them to answer questions. So life, whatever, you know, whatever you want to do there, I don't care. But you got to ask the questions, right? You got to ask the questions. You're never going to know. Right? And I skipped my little sub-point there. I sell way more annuities based off that long-term care conversation than anything else that I do. It's not financial planning, it's not income, it's long-term care. Because they've got money, and they've got this idea that the state is going to take it all away if they go in a nursing home, which is not really true, but they're going to have to spend it, right? So if we can protect that money or leverage it for long-term care, that's what we do. And then life insurance, that's another tool for long-term care. So we actually sell, when I do sell life insurance, which isn't very often, but when I do, it's because of the long-term care conversation. Make sense? Okay. So life insurance, whatever, do it or don't, I don't care. And then retirement income, this is the fourth pillar. What good are you doing them if they're going to run out of money? What is your job as an insurance agent? Protect their, you said it, Mike, protect their assets, right? That's our jobs as insurance agents, protect their assets, protect their money, their livelihood, their income in retirement, right? I usually get different answers. You know, provide a, good health care or get them, dental coverage or something like that. But overall, it is protect their assets. And our slogan at our company is we help people live happy, healthy, wealthy lives for the rest of their lives. And what's your title, by the way? Is it financial professional? Is it financial advisor? Is it income protection agent? What's your title? Anybody not just use insurance agent? Yeah, you're an insurance agent. Okay, y'all are all with me, right? We're all on the same page? Okay, you understand what I mean? Okay, good. I'm an insurance agent. Okay, I get it. Okay, so, after lunch, it's tough to gauge. You're all looking at me, but I'm not getting a lot of feedback. Okay, got it. I don't have any jokes. That's what Merwin's here for. Okay? I had a couple of jokes, but I decided against them. So, you're just going to get substance if that's okay. Yes, sir. All right, good. All right. So, retirement income, mainly, if you don't have a securities registration, then you're using annuities, right? Maybe you like IULs or something. That's fine. I'm not going to argue with you about that. But the primary tool is annuities. Or you can go out and get yourself a Series 65 securities registration and manage their assets as well, right? And those two go hand in hand. Because if you're just writing annuities and you don't have a securities license, then what happens to the other part of that money? Tracy told us yesterday you can't put all their money in an annuity. What happens to that? That stays with the other advisor who's doing what? Why'd you buy that annuity? That was so stupid. That guy's just a scam artist, right? And so what happens? Free look. Who likes chargebacks? How much a chargeback on a Medicare plan?
This video is sponsored by none other than Lead Heroes, you guys. Lead Heroes is going to be your one-stop shop when it comes to your Medicare and final expense needs. People ask me all the time, Christian, what type of lead is going to be the best quality for me to work? And I don't really quite know if the answer is going to be a digital marketing lead, a direct mail lead, or a telemarketed lead, but I can say that a telemarketed lead is going to be up there with the best of them in terms of quality. A telemarketed lead has unique quality to it because there's a live person that actually speaks to the prospective customer and gets their verbal consent that they're interested and willing to speak with a licensed agent just like you. Whether it be a pre-scheduled Medicare appointment with a scope of appointment captured and then scheduled on your calendar 48 hours out, or whether it be a custom calling campaign where you call the shots, where your scripts are used, where it's the areas of your choosing, when it's the times of the day that you're choosing. Custom calling is where you pay by the hour, and essentially it's a custom campaign built to your liking. Lead Heroes has got you covered for all of these unique type of marketing needs for agents. There's a link down in the description of this video about Lead Heroes. You can learn more about these incredibly unique lead generation services, and I think you'll want to check it out today so you can continue to grow and explode your business.
Right, $300, $600, $250. How about a $30,000 chargeback on an annuity? That hurt a little more? Yeah. So what do? The more we can build them up, the more we can just, with what I do with that holistic retirement plan, it's like putting a big warm blanket around them, right? Who likes to get out from under a big warm blanket? Right? Unless it's summertime in San Antonio, then. And you're like, get away from me. AUM is assets under management. That's the securities. All right, so y'all see what I do here? Is it anything in here that anybody with an insurance license cannot do besides the AUM? Everybody in here, y'all understand you can all sell fixed and indexed annuities? Right? Can't do variable annuities, but that's okay because they stink anyway. Right? Everybody in this room can do what I do. Now, why don't you? You can just answer, just shout it out, it's okay. You don't know enough yet, okay? It's scary, it's too much. Lack of confidence, right? Lack of competence. All right. Now, that's the four things, but what else can you do? The name of my company is Turning 65 Solutions Tax and Insurance. We don't do taxes, I'm not a CPA, but I have a CPA that does taxes for my clients. at a reduced rate for a discount. So we provide that service. They don't have to go anywhere else. Estate planning. Find a lawyer who does simple estate plans for cheap. One of the little dirty little secrets in the lawyer-in business is that they all use the same software, right? They just fill in the blanks in the software. It spits out the documents. Some lawyers charge $400, some charge $4,000, right? Find you a local attorney who will do a simple 4-document estate plan. It all depends on your state. A will, power of attorney, durable power of attorney, medical power of attorney, and medical directives. That's all most people need. And that should cost $400 per person, $800 for a couple. Find somebody that'll do that. Because somebody else out there is selling them a trust for $4,000 or $2,000 that has no assets in it. So what does that do? That gets shipped off to the annuity agent that's now going to, oh, we got to fund that trust that my buddy just sold you that cost him $8 in his software to create. So we got to put all your stuff in it. And what happens to your assets for your Medicare client? They get tied up in this complicated trust that's going to cost another $10,000 when they die to undo because it wasn't necessary. All right, so find a good local lawyer who doesn't like to do anything complicated or expensive to work with. Same thing with the CPA. Now the CPA, a tip on that, who works with CPAs currently for referrals? Is that a one-way street usually? No? Well, you're different. For most people, it's like referrals are a one-way street with people like CPAs, right? It's you give them referrals, or if you have a different relationship, they give you referrals, but there's nothing going back. Well, make sure if you're working with a CPA in this concept, they need to either not only send you referrals, which is good, but they need to give you that client's information, and they can fix it in their disclosures, their engagement letters that discloses the fact that they're going to share their information with me. Because I'm their financial advisor, I need to be on the same page with their CPA. And that's a pitch. How many of you in here, your CPA is under the same roof with your financial advisor? How many of them does your financial advisor talk to your CPA? How many of you are paying too much in taxes in your investment accounts? If we've got 3 or 4 major headwinds to retirement, risk, taxes, fees, how many of those can we control? We can control risk. No, we can control risk a little bit. We can control fees, and we can control taxes too. But is your CPA talking to your financial advisor? Well, I'll tell you what, I've got the CPA, he works for me, and so we talk, we make sure that you're in the most tax-efficient financial plan possible. So we just eliminated that one headwind to your retirement, okay? See how that works? Right? If they're worried about probate, we need you to talk to my lawyer and make sure that what you've got is not going to have to go through probate. Do annuities have to go through probate at death? No, they do not. They're protected from probate. They bypass probate. So guess what? You don't need a trust if you've got an annuity. If that's it. I mean, if you've got something else complicated, a trust may be appropriate. But talk to your attorney about that. I'm not an attorney. Right? It's all about the concept and just being able to have a conversation. All right. PNC. How many of you do PNC in addition? Okay, that's good. That's good. How many of you have that conversation every time? I tried to do it. I couldn't. Yeah, referral partners. You need a PNC agent. And that should be a two-way street. Most certainly. And if it's not a two-way street, go get another one. Because what are they doing for you? They're not giving you discounts, right? Because they can't discount the product. They can provide good service and they can provide referrals. But a PNC agent that will represent you with the client. I'm going to work for Ron for you to make sure that he's already given you the best retirement package you have. I'm going to make sure that, oh, by the way, if I can save you another $300 a year on your home and auto insurance, how does that help your retirement plan? That's positive, right? All right, so find an agent or 12 or 15. If you spread it out too far, it's not as much of a two-way street, but they don't know that, right? You send them one every once in a while. You be a jack of all trades. How many of you think that's a good idea? No? Are you sure? What? What is the... Oh, I'm going to get these out of order. What's the expression? Jack of all trades, master of none. Is it a period or a comma? It's a comma, right? What's the rest of it? But often better than a master of one. Right? So you don't have to know everything about this stuff. All you have to know how to do is ask the questions and identify a problem. The way that we protect assets is by identifying problems and solving problems. So if you're in a Medicare presentation and you're asking these questions like I've told you to, and they said, yeah, I'm taking care of my mom. She's living with us right now. We're having to pay for her bills. And you go, you've got $300,000 in your IRA. How long is that going to last? Well, no. What if that happens to you? What's that money for? Is that for you to live on or for you to pass on? Either way, we don't want to be paying that money out to a nursing home, right? So what if we can leverage that money? What if we can get somebody else to leverage it 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 with no risk to you, by the way? If you die early, you get all that money back with interest. Right? Or if you change your mind, you get all that money back. And then you don't have to know how to do it. You just have to know somebody to call. Call me up. Say, hey, Ron, my client said they've got this problem. How do I solve that? And I'll tell you. Right? I talk to agents all the time. They ask me how to do this stuff, and then they never implement it. It's like the curse of the conference. Right? I learned 10 things here that I'm going to go back and go, man, that was really good stuff. All right, back to work. Right? It's okay. You don't have to do it all right away. Just learn one. How many of you ever taken the long-term care partnership class on your CEs? Right? That's pretty good. And that's just part of your CEs you have to do. I mean, you don't have to do it, but that would be a good one to do if you haven't done it. You learn all about long-term care, how it works. If you're thinking about it while you're doing it, what's bad about it? Why people don't take it? What if people told you why they don't take long-term care? If you've ever presented it and they've said no, why did they say no? Price, cost too much. Think they never use it. They had a parent that paid on it for 30 years and it wouldn't pay out. Right? They've all got these problems. That's a good thing when you hear those answers. Because let me tell you, I talk about long-term care every day, and I haven't sold a long-term care policy in 8 or 9 years. Because by the time people get to 65, 64, 65, it's too late. It costs too much or they don't qualify. And they run a big risk of paying $30,000 for an insurance policy and never paying out because they die of a heart attack, never going to long-term care. Right? So we've got annuities, we've got life insurance policies that solve that risk problem and that cost problem. Okay? Now here's another value add that has been, it's pretty new for me, it's been a real game changer. I thought it was selfish. I thought it was just going to be a value add for my business, for my internal operations, but it ended up being a huge value add for my clients, and that is my in-house service department. Right? So I hired a gal to come in and just be my customer service rep. So, and she handles onboarding. Me and my agent sell a Medicare policy. The email goes to her. She starts the onboarding process. So it's not just me. It's my agents, my internal agents, my external partners. We do all of this. I thought it was just going to be a help just to free up my time, buy my time back. The clients love it. The clients love it. It's always been my sales pitch that, you don't have to call the 800 number and wait for someone to, 20 minutes for somebody to answer, and then they're talking to someone in a foreign country who does not work for Glenn Shelton. And, let me do that for you. That's why I'm here. That's why the insurance company pays me. they all know that, it's going to take a day or 2 or 3 for me to get back with them and do that. They call her, she takes care of it, she chats them up on the phone. They love it. They love it. And I do that for me and my agents. We send them a welcome package. We set them up for birthday cards, thank you cards, get a welcome letter. She calls them right after the sale, within a day or 2, calls them on their effective date, says, hey, did you get your ID card? Your plan's in effect. Go ahead and start using it. Calls them 30 days after. How's it going? Any problems? Have you used your OTC benefit? How many of you have clients that have an OTC benefit, never used it because they didn't know about it? And how many of you lost those clients because another agent calls them up and say, hey, I've got $50 a quarter for OTC, and they switch, and you go, I had 75. Why'd you do that? I had 75, now you can't go to your doctor because they took $25 a quarter away from you. This is huge, big game changer, okay? And then we do all the service too, so ordering new ID cards, these things I hate to have to do. I call an insurance company and try to figure out how, I don't even know how to do it. I don't know how to order new ID cards. Well, and it's just a huge time suck, and for me, and she does it now, and network issues, OTC cards, OTC apps, setting up van rides to the doctor, all that kind of stuff. The clients, most of them don't like bugging me anyway. They like talking to her. It's great. All right. Sound like a lot? Hey, like I said, learn 1 course a year. Just learn 1 extra thing a year. You're doing a really good job being here. How many of you have, just taken an extra course, something that maybe wasn't even involved with Medicare or insurance, but was, right? So if you haven't already done the long-term care partnership class, add that to your CE this time, right? Annuities. I've got an annuity course. Tracy has a great annuity course. Everybody's got them out there. Not everybody. People that I trust myself. Tracy's got a good course. Social Security. Joanna, great Social Security. Not even charging for it. That class should be costing $1,000. At least $1,000. She's giving it to us for free. Also, you've seen the RSSA, Registered Social Security Analyst class that's out there. That's $1,000. It's more than that when you count the cost of the test and the software and everything. The software is worth it. I have Social Security optimization software that costs way more than $300 a year. So look into that, but definitely take advantage of Joanna's offer. Retirement funds, taxation. Ed Slott's got a great course all about IRAs. Long-term care. Roy Snar's an agent and kind of in our circle that is super smart on long-term care and selling alternatives to it. I'm trying to hurry. I've got a minute left. You finished 65 yet? See, another non-implementer over here. All right. Jack of all trades, master of none, but often better than a master of one. Folks, this is my offer. You've all, you haven't taken my seminar course yet. If you're not in Medicare Monsters group, you probably didn't see it. But if you didn't, I went ahead and recorded it, put it back out there. All it costs you is your email address and an hour and a half of your time. And if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd love to talk to agents, be magnetic, and love you all. Thank you.